Hi, my name is Carel, and this is Paint with Faith. We're a motivational painting company. We believe that you can do all things, and we want you to believe it too. So, before we go any further, I need you to repeat after me. If I believe, I can achieve. Okay, that was okay, but I need you to do it with a little more enthusiasm. If I believe, I can achieve. That was much more convincing. See, we believe that there are no mistakes in art. So if you feel like you made a mistake, or if you've accidentally put some extra paint on the canvas, don't worry, because there's no mistakes. Only room for more opportunity and creativity. This is called a canvas to remind you that you can do it. So I need everybody to snap your fingers like this. Everybody snap with me. So if you hear anyone around you saying, I can't do this, or if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not an artist, I need you to just snap your fingers and just snap out the negative energy. Because today we're going to paint in a positive space with pure positivity. Now with that being said, who's ready to paint? First, let's make sure we have all our supplies. So you're going to need your paint, your canvas, 2 brushes, a cup of water to wash your brushes, some paper towels or washcloth to dry your brushes, and something to mix your paint on, a palette or a paper plate. Okay, let's get started. So first we're going to take our big brush and we're going to take some white and find the middle of your canvas. So somewhere around here. And we're going to draw or paint a white line going all the way across. And it's okay if you can't really see it. We know it's there. And now we're going to take a little bit of yellow and we're going to paint over that white line. And this should blend together and give us a nice light yellow. And if it's not really looking that light, you can always add a little more white and make it lighter. And just gradually go higher and higher. And we're just going to bring the color higher and higher. And just keep adding some yellow or white. And we're going to bring it higher. Then when you've had about 1.5 inches of the yellow, the lighter yellow, just dip your brush into some yellow and we're just going to go higher. And we're going to make it a little darker, but we're still going to blend. We're going to blend it into that lighter yellow. You guys are doing such a good job, I can tell. And we just got started. Okay, now we're almost to the top, but we're not going to go with any more yellow. Not yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some white And just separate the white, like I put some right here. And we're gonna take just a little bit of blue, just a dot of blue, and we're gonna mix that together. We're gonna make a nice light blue. And now we're gonna take that light blue and we're gonna go above the yellow. You can overlap it too, and that'll help it blend into the yellow. And you can go up and down. It's okay if it looks a little greenish, but that's what yellow and blue make, so that's fine. And we're just gonna keep blending. You don't want any sharp lines. You just want it to look smooth and blend together. Now we have a little bit of space at the top. So we're just gonna use blue, regular blue, and we're gonna fill in that space and blend it into the lighter blue. Remember, you don't want any sharp lines, just blend. And if you feel like you're going back too far down or it's getting too sharp, just add some more yellow. That'll help it to blend better. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, there are no mistakes. So I'm just adding some more yellow and we're just blending. Now, let's wash our brushes. Just wiggle it in the water, swirl it around, and then dry it off on your washcloth. And then we're gonna make pink. Do you remember what two colors make pink? If you said white and red, you're right. So we're gonna take a little bit of white and just a dot of red, because you don't want too much. We're not making a bright pink. We just want a nice pastel pink. And we're just gonna put a little bit of pink into the yellow. You can put some in the blue, just a little bit. And if it looks like white, you can add a little red to it, but not too much. And we're just gonna blend that in. It doesn't have to be a perfect line either. I wish I could see yours, but I'm sure you're doing a great job. Just put some pink here and there. Now let's wash our brushes again. And we're gonna go back to the blue. So we're gonna take a little bit of blue just on the tip of your brush. And right under this yellow, we're gonna draw another line, just a thin line. So it's easier if you hold your brush like this and just gently touch the canvas. And you can go back over it too. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're gonna wash our brushes again. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did to the top. So we're gonna take some white but this time, don't go to the edges. We're just doing mainly in the middle. Don't go all the way to the edges. You can get close, but not all the way. And we're just gonna put some yellow in there. This time we want a nice light yellow. It can even be lighter than the one above it. And just go back and forth until you've gotten a nice light yellow. And then you can add your brighter yellow. And just keep blending. But remember, stay towards the middle. You can get close to the edges, but you don't want to go all the way to the edge. But if you do, that's fine too. Remember, there are no mistakes. And now, we're gonna go in with our light blue. If you need to make some more, that's fine too. You can make some more. I had a little left, so. And we're just gonna blend with this lighter blue. You can go ahead and fill in the edges at the top that we didn't want to get to before. I love blending. That's one of my favorite things to do in art. It's so relaxing. Okay, and now that we've filled in our light blue, we're gonna go with a regular blue and just fill in the bottom. And try to brush only across in one direction. You don't want your lines going all over the place. This is such a pretty blue. Blue is my favorite color too. And remember, if you get somewhere where it's not blending, just add a little bit of white. And that should help it blend together. But remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now you can put your big brush in your water, and we're gonna move on to our little brush. Do you remember what colors make gray? If you said black and white, that's right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some white and just put that to a clean part of your palette or your plate, and we're gonna take a little bit of black, just a dot of black. And we're gonna mix that together, and we're gonna get a nice medium shade of gray. If you need a little more black, you can always add more, but it's better to start light. And when I'm blending colors or mixing colors, I always like to start with white and then add the color to the white, because that way you won't waste the paint. Sometimes it just takes a little too much white to lighten a color. So when you've made a nice medium gray, we're gonna draw a gray line right over that blue line in the center. And it's okay if it kind of covers it in some parts, that's fine. Now we're gonna go a little bit above that line that we just drew, right here. And we're just gonna make a wavy kind of line, just a little wavy until we get to the center. Just a wavy line like that. Now, once you've gotten to the center, you're gonna make a small triangle. Just like that. Next, we're gonna make an X with the right side of the triangle. Do you see that X shape? And we're gonna just turn this X into another triangle, just a little bigger, not too big. And these are gonna be our mountains. We're gonna make a nice landscape with some mountains. Now let's put another X right here. We can make it a little smaller this time because mountains aren't always the same size. And we're gonna make that into another little triangle. So just make sure the triangles are overlapping, if that's easier to think about it like that. Now let's make a really big mountain. So we're gonna make a really big, long line for this part of our X. And this mountain is so big, it's gonna go off the canvas. Just like that. Now, with the same gray, we're just gonna fill in all these yellows that are in our mountain. Just fill all of it in. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Remember, no negative thoughts. I'm just gonna fill in our mountains. And when you're filling it in, you can go outside of the triangle. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight because mountains aren't perfect triangles anyway. So it's okay, you can make the edges a little rough, rugged. That's fine. Now we're gonna take some black. Not too much, just a little bit at the tip of your brush. And you don't have to wash your brush yet. And start at the very top of the mountain, right there. And we're gonna do kind of like a zigzag line. Doesn't have to be perfect. Going down. But you don't have to go all the way down. And you're gonna do that to all of our mountains. And then we're gonna take a little bit more black and we're just gonna blend it in to the rest on the left side, just to darken that area. let's take some more black. And the right side of that zigzag line that we made, we're just gonna gently pull away from that line with the black. Just gently tap the canvas and pull away. And we're going to do that to all mountains. And you want to pull away in kind of a downward diagonal motion. Now you can kind of see your mountains coming along. So what we're going to do next is take a little bit of white, just a little, just at the tip. And we're going to do the same thing to the mountains to the opposite side. And it might be easier if you use the edge of the brush instead of the whole flat part, because that'll give it a little more texture. You just want some little strokes. Remember, we're just pulling in a downward diagonal motion. And it's okay if some parts are brighter than others. Some parts have more white than others. Now when you're done with that part, do the same thing to the rest of the mountains. Or I guess they would be more like hills leading up to the mountains. Not too much, you just want to give them a little bit of light at the top. Just tapping and adding a little white. And you can kind of drag it down a little, just to give it some texture. And they're not all gonna look the same, and that's fine. Okay, now we're gonna wash our brushes. Just wiggle in the water and then dry it on your washcloth. Make sure there's no more gray in there. And we're gonna take some white. And to the left side of your canvas, a little above the yellow part, maybe somewhere where the blue starts or the lighter blue, somewhere in that blend, we're just gonna paint a little circle. And try to make it as perfect as you can, but if you can't, that's okay. Circles are really hard to get perfectly. Now while we have the white, you're gonna go straight down under where you have the circle, right under the mountains, and you're gonna put a white line right there. And then just add another white line under it. Leave a little bit of space, just a little gap. And add another one. And you can make them different lengths. Just have them going across in that same motion. And we're gonna do this all the way down to the blue. And when you get to the blue, you don't have to dip your brush because we want it to kind of fade out. So you don't have to put any more white. Now let's go back to the gray. And remember, you can always make some more if you ran out the first time. I'm just mixing a little more gray. And we're gonna put some clouds in the sky. So you can actually use the clouds to cover any part of that little circle that you don't think is perfect. So I'm gonna cover maybe the top of it, like that. And then using the side of your brush, not this way, the side of it, you're just gonna tap and just make some little cloud shapes. And remember, you can always put a little bit of the clouds unattached to the big cloud, because clouds aren't always attached. There's always little pieces floating around. And you can put as many clouds as you want. Just try to make them different shapes, different sizes. And we're just gonna keep doing that tapping motion. You guys are doing so great, I can just tell. I bet your clouds are beautiful. I'm just putting some little pieces of clouds, just scattering them around anywhere you want. Now, let's wash our brushes again. And we're gonna make a little more light yellow. So here I'm taking some white. And I'm just putting a little drop. This one we want to be really light. And it's okay if there's still some white in it. See, mine isn't perfectly mixed. That's okay. That's even better, actually. So we're gonna take that light yellow and just tap it over the gray. And we're just gonna slowly blend it down, but leave a little piece of gray at the bottom. Just a little part. Because sometimes when we look up at the clouds, they're darker at the bottom. Right here it wouldn't really be so dark because it's right next to the sun. So I'm just covering all these grays with yellow. We're gonna do that to all our clouds. If there's a part of the cloud that's further away from the sun, that's a little circle here, you can leave more gray in it. And we're just gonna tap. This one's, the bottom is closer to the sun, so I'm putting the yellow more at the bottom. And then I'm gonna leave some gray at the top. these little pieces are kind of far away, so they can have some gray, some more gray. Now let's wash your brushes one more time. And we're gonna take that light pink that we had before, just a little bit on your brush, and we're gonna do some lines across the water. Just like these lines, but longer and thinner and more scattered. Remember, you're barely touching your canvas. Just hover the brush over and let it just gently touch the canvas. And if your pink is looking more like white, you can always add a little bit more red to it and make it a little brighter pink. And we're just gonna keep putting some of those pink lines. Just like that. And then we can put a little bit of blue, regular blue, and just do the same thing, just right under every other pink line. Just put a little bit of blue. You don't really need much. And then wash your brush, and without any paint at all on your brush, just go back over and blend those out a little. go back over some of those lines that are looking a little sharp. We're just gonna blend them, make them a little softer. And this works because the brush is a little bit wet, so it helps to blend it better. But you don't want it too wet. Now, we're gonna take some black. We're almost done. And we're just gonna draw a thin line right under the mountains. Just very thin. It doesn't even have to connect that much. Just hold the brush like this and just gently tap it all the way across. And while we have the black, we're gonna add some leaves, plants, whatever you wanna call them at the bottom. And this is called the foreground. This is just to show that these are close to us. The mountains are in the background. So this is easier if you start at the bottom and you just swoosh up and just make them crisscross. You can go in whatever directions you want. They don't all have to be straight, but you can put some that are straight too. And we're just gonna do this all across the bottom. And remember, use the brush this way instead of this way, because then you can get the edge of it to make those really thin lines. This part can get a little tricky, but I know you guys can do it. Don't give up. It's not that hard. Just doing some thinner lines. And if they get a little thicker, that's okay too. Just keep going until you get to the other side. So once you've gotten to the other side, what you can do is make some of these cattails. So just make oval shapes close to the top. And you can do it to just random ones. Doesn't have to be all. Just a little oval shape. And this will add a little more detail to your painting. And just a couple should be fine. Don't need a lot. Just some little oval shapes. But our painting is missing something, isn't it? Something really special. What do you think it is? If you said a signature, you're right. So you need to sign your name or put your initials on your painting. I'm gonna use black, but you can use whatever color you want. And I'm just gonna put mine right here. And now we're done. I hope you enjoyed painting with me, and I hope you're happy with this beautiful painting that you accomplished today. Remember, everything you overcame, all the doubts you may have had, any fears you had about painting, you overcame all those, and you can use that in any situation in your life. So whenever you look at this painting, just remember that if you just believe in yourself, you can do it, because your life is a canvas. Paint it with faith.